This is a presentation about Asian for-profit international schools, where international education continues to be valued as a means to a pragmatic end rather than an ethical end in itself. For-profit education in Asia. Consider, for example, the difference between a startup school in China, which is run as a for-profit enterprise with a bilingual curriculum for Chinese students, and a well-established, oversubscribed not-for-profit school in Singapore with expatriate families and parent trustees. There's a huge difference between a private school in an emerging economy and a school that caters for an affluent expat population. The focus in education is different, and the methods for recruiting students is very different. Inequity between campuses, improving the American School of Vietnam's secondary school at the expense of the elementary program. A result of being a for-profit school in an emerging economy, the parents value getting their children just out of the country into a quality university outside of Vietnam, rather than aiming for education and learning the culture and developing character. So then in marketing the school or in recruiting students, the goal isn't to develop great education programs. It's more about cramming as many students as possible into the school with promises of getting them into Harvard. While I was a teacher at the American School of Vietnam, starting in 2012, there were 135 students total. When I left the school at the end of 2016, there were 283 students in total. Currently, there are 550 students. In 2014, the school attained WASC accreditation. I was there for the initial application to WASC and writing the self-study. The school got a 1-year provisional accreditation, and then after a year was able to have a 3-year accreditation. A big difference between the early child and elementary program and the secondary program is retention. Early child and elementary retained about 85% of the students over those 4 years. Now that's dropped off. They're not retaining as many because of larger class sizes and inadequate facilities. During that time, the secondary retained about 35 to 40% of the students. Now in the secondary school, it's located in 5 villas with a swimming pool, soccer pitch, cafeteria, and performance space. The 5 villas are literally 5 times the size of the elementary school because the elementary is in 1, even though there's the same number of students. While I was at the school from 2012 to 2016, the middle and high school maintained less than 40% retention, and that has not really improved. So the major area of growth has always been the elementary school for the American School of Vietnam. Now, the WASC report noted a few things about teachers at the school. There was a disparity between teacher salaries, as secondary STEM teachers seem to be on a different pay scale than other teachers. There was no published pay scale, and there was no equity between the teachers. This led to tense relationships between teachers, a lack of collaboration, and low teacher retention. These are some of the high school students on the soccer pitch. Now, the primary program consists of the early childhood and elementary programs. They're located in a single villa alongside the Saigon River in Ho Chi Minh City. From 2012 to 2016, it maintained about 85% retention, and it nearly tripled in enrollment. The student-to-teacher ratio increased from 1 to 12 to a 1 to 24, despite a 20-student limit in the classes. They lost a lot of teachers. A lot of teachers complained because their class sizes were far larger than they were told would be when they got to the school. Again, ethically, they were not true to their word to teachers, so a lot of teachers left. Now, the WASC accreditation report noted that there was inadequate play areas for elementary students. The facilities were far too small for the number of students. The WASC report also noted that the school made no effort to retain staff, and the elementary teacher salaries were actually shrinking. And again, this was a source for teachers to leave, source of tension that caused teachers to leave. Particularly specialists, the PE, art, and music teachers were asked to take a 10% pay cut just because they wanted to reduce payroll. All of these teachers left. After accreditation in 2014, there was a notable drop-off in student retention in the elementary program, mainly because of the inadequate facilities and larger class sizes. Now, the relationship among the common good and the principles of solidarity and subsidiarity is rooted in human dignity. Human beings should not be treated as a mere means to an end and should be treated with respect. Now, this quote to me means that the idea of not publishing the pay scale, asking people to take pay cuts, they're treating the teachers as if they're appliances at the school and are easily replaced, rather than respecting the knowledge base, the importance of continuity. And if one of the school's main principles that they're teaching is altruism, is having character, they're not demonstrating it for the students and are defeating their own purpose as a school. Now, the average income in Vietnam, according to the World Bank, is $2,060 per year. The average elementary tuition at the American School of Vietnam is about $16,000 per year. The neighborhood the school is in, Thao Dien Ward of District 2 in Ho Chi Minh City, $1 million mansions up and down the street, these villas that are huge, and in between them are small corrugated aluminum huts where the cleaning staff and security guards live. Part of the lesson I think the students are learning while they're at the school is this idea of economic disparity. One thing the school I think defeated as far as teaching altruism is every year at Tet, the biggest Vietnamese holiday, Vietnamese New Year's, the school wouldn't give the traditional bonus or lucky money to the Vietnamese staff. So all the foreign staff would put their money together and give bonuses despite the school's unwillingness to do so. Again, this creates tension amongst staff. It's unethical. It's not treating people with dignity or respect. Practical wisdom is the moral will to do the right thing and the moral skill to figure out what the right thing is. An ethical issue at this school was that because it's for-profit, decisions were made based solely on money, not because it was the right thing or was the better thing for the students. So overall, it became a regular for-profit business, not a special school to send your children. If I was given the opportunity to make ethical choices with the school, to create equity among staff, I would immediately publish a pay scale, have transparent teacher evaluations that are related to rehiring and promotions. These things were talked about when I was at the school. In fact, there was a published pay scale when I started, and then it disappeared. Salaries shrank for incoming teachers. Because of the lack of a moral compass, because of this lack of ethics amongst management, a lot of good teachers left. If I was given the opportunity, I would develop the facilities for the elementary program so that they had adequate space. There is a neighboring villa that I believe was empty that they could be able to make into a cafeteria space or a play area for the students. They also need to improve access to technology for the younger students. Now, within the community, I would want to have more endeavors to be an agent for positive change in the area. Again, Vietnam is an emerging economy, and in this wealthy neighborhood of Ho Chi Minh City, there's great economic disparity. And as the wealthiest of the wealthy in the region, the students should be able to contribute to improving the lives of their neighbors. I was at the school for 4 years and I saw many unethical behaviors because it was a for-profit business. Now, between the elementary and the high school, the elementary program originally was better staffed. It's generally easier to manage an elementary program than a secondary program. So the school was very successful in that area and then defeated itself by focusing on having a list of great colleges that they got high school students into. If I was given the opportunity, I would want to fix the unethical practices to make it a better school for the sake of teaching. And then I think when that reputation improves, the school will be making more money and keep retaining students. Thank you for listening to the presentation.